We are back with 428 Shibuya Scramble. We had a downer of a stream last time. It turns out that Achi's dad, Endo, of Endo's Electronics, was the man who hired the guy with the cane to attack Hitomi to get her blood to cure... That's right, not Maria, Achi's sister. That's what it was. Hello there, Aqua. So, the question is, now that we're done with Achi's story, who are we going to play as next? Because we've dealt with a little bit of Minorikawa, we have gotten the option to jump to Osawa, but we haven't actually played as Osawa or Maria or Kano, so who's it going to be? Chat, shall we deal with Kano? Minorikawa? Osawa? Or Maria? Place your votes. I am ever so curious as to who we're going to play as. Any preferences, anybody? Again, we've gotten a couple of hints toward a couple of characters, but haven't done anything with them except for a little bit of Minorikawa. We have 1 vote for Maria. 2 votes for Maria. 3. Any other takes on this? 1 for Kano, but 4 for Maria. 2 for Kano. I'm thinking Maria is winning this one. Alright, let's do it. 1 for Osawa, but yeah, Maria is, I went the wrong way, actually. Maria has, dominated this one. Yeah, right, Winterburn. I'm trying to swing the vote by leaving the camera on Maria. Alright, Maria it is, though. I walk counter to the throng of people heading toward the scene of the explosion. The explosion happened in Shibuya-ku, Jinan 1 Chome? What? Near the intersection of Koendori and Oregon Hill. There's a gun pressed against my back, leaving me no choice but to continue marching forward. I don't have time for this right now. There's something I need to do. My frantic sense of urgency grows and grows. Kanan. The only clue I have is that name. The other hazy snippets that have surfaced in my memory provide no answers. Please just tell me, I murmur. Do you know who I am? When the man with the cane doesn't answer, I stop in my tracks. I'm going to start shouting, I warn him. If you want to find out who you are, then do as I say. The barrel of the gun jabs more forcefully into my back. Once we find Hitomi Osawa, you'll remember, whether you like it or not. Guess I have no choice but to keep moving. Are your memories really that precious to you? The man mutters as we start to move again. I'm taken aback by the question. Well, yes. I mean, isn't that pretty normal? There's a bit of a pause before he replies, his voice sad and distant. You're not going to remember just the good times, you know. What do you mean? I mean that sad and painful memories are going to resurface, too. I guess I hadn't really thought about that. But still, whatever kind of memories they are, they're all a part of me. I'm the person I am now because of the sorrow and pain, too. I want to remember. I want to remember who I am. The gunman directs me dispassionately along a series of quiet side streets. Right here. I stop at his words. In front of us is an old multi-tenant office building. We ride the elevator to the 8th floor, then use the emergency exit to take the stairs up to the rooftop. And we're there, okay. A cool breeze blows across my cheek. Sit down there. I do as he says, settling myself on the outdoor air conditioning unit. The man lowers his gun, but keeps it in hand. We'll wait here for a bit. For how long? Well, exactly 1 bit. He lets out a rueful chuckle. Guess we'll have to wait and see. I decide there's no point in trying to fight with him. For now, I have to hope he's telling the truth, and whatever's coming will help me get my memories back. If I don't know my past, how can I know what to do about this Kanan stuff, or anything else? I stare up at the sky as I wait for whatever this assassin is waiting for. The silence between us is suffocating. Finally, I can't take it any longer. Hello there, Dragon Ace. Hey, so I think this is yours? I hold out the notebook I picked up earlier. The man's surprise is plain on his face. Where did you get that? I saw the picture inside. He snatches the book out of my hand. Then he flips through it, looking sad. I'm afraid that another agonizing silence is about to descend when he speaks at last. This is a picture of me and my childhood friends. His voice is low and quiet. We were inseparable back when we were kids. The boy here, he liked to fiddle with machines. Always doing things like taking apart radios and whatnot and putting them back together. He was a total bookworm too, so he got picked on a lot. But I was always there to save him from the bullies. All of a sudden, the guy is in a sharing mood, I guess. I could feel his aura of murderous rage starting to abate. The girl here was the same age as us, but she felt more like a big sister. Whatever stupid things my other friend and I got up to, she was always willing to laugh it off. I decide to stay quiet and keep listening. What was her name? I ask, curious to know more. So is this some sort of love triangle? Well, okay then. Guess I'm the nosy sort. So A, B, or C? Just let him talk? B, pursue who the girl was? C, weird question? So where are we gonna go? Have a good night, Mr. Pastat. So, yeah, which option are we gonna go with? A for keep listening, B for who was this, C for was this some sort of love triangle? So we have 1 for A, 2 for C. Anything else? Two for A, 3 for A, 1 for B. Hello there, Dark Charger. So it's 3-1-2 right now. I guess we'll go with A. Hello, Ichigo Berry. I decide to stay quiet and keep listening. We both had a thing for her. A bashful little smile comes to his face. When we were in high school, she told me that she liked me too, so the two of us started dating. But I just have to ask, what about the other guy? He never said anything. I'm not sure how he felt deep down. Oh, alright. So then is she your wife now? No. We broke up not too long afterward. The man carefully slips the notebook into the pocket inside his jacket. How come? It was nothing in particular, really. Things just didn't work out. He lets out a little chuckle, then stands up and brushes the dust off his pants. He looks strangely lonely. Okay. Well, that's enough of that. Bye. So, that was fun. Who are we playing as now? Osawa. Minurikawa. I forgot if we could go anywhere with Minurikawa. And Kano. Who's it gonna be, ladies and gentlemen? Kano, Minurikawa, Osawa. Okay, we have 1 vote for Kano. 2 for Kano. Dragon Ace Achi is done. So we have 2 for Kano. 3 for Kano. 1 for Osawa. I guess we're doing Kano then. Let's go. 4 for Kano. Yeah, we're in. Arriving back at the Shibuya precinct, Kano hurried to the interrogation room. With the investigation currently on hold, he knew that taking any official action would be tricky. If he was going to break through this stalemate, he was going to need Tateno's help. The abduction, the ransom, the attaché case relay, Maria's release, and then Tanaka's death. Maybe Tateno would be able to figure out how all these elements were related. But first, Kano needed to check something for himself. Tateno would never have let Al-Karawan go free. Kano needed the prisoner to set the record straight. This guy has the creepiest expressions all the time. Al-Karawan sat in the precinct interrogation room looking brazen and cocksure. One glance at his face and Kano was reminded of what had happened to Sasayama. Fresh anger smoldered at the edges of his mind. There were 2 detectives already in the room. It seems he wasn't made privy to the details, one of them told Kano. Sounds like they were following orders, carrying an attaché case around, the other added. Kano sat down across from Al-Karawan. There's something I'd like to ask you, he said. We were just paid to do a job. I don't know anything more than that. Wow, he's more forthcoming than he was in that one bad end where he was just silent for like 2 hours. Or like longer. His Japanese was imperfect, but he understood the language well enough. Hello there, Eric. Tell me, how did you manage to escape from Detective Tateno? Escape? I didn't. A faint smile came to Al-Karawan's lips. He let me go free. Liar! Detective Tateno would never do that. Kano slammed the desk with his fist. I didn't have handcuffs on, did I? He took them off for me. This had to be a lie. It's not like there weren't other ways to remove a pair of handcuffs. After he took off the handcuffs, Al-Karawan continued, he pointed his gun at me. Cut the crap! Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. But Al-Karawan went on, unperturbed. He kept the gun pointed at me, but he didn't pull the trigger. So that's when I ran. Why would Detective Tateno want to shoot you? Because I saw him. Saw him? Saw him do what? Let me tell you something interesting, Al-Karawan said sardonically. There was that girl who was carrying the ransom, right? Kano pictured Hitomi standing anxiously beside the statue of Hachiko. That guy Tateno was trying to kill her. So is Tateno the cane guy? No, that can't... Could it be? In a fit of rage, Kano drove his fist into Al-Karawan's face. His colleagues rushed to interpose themselves. Kano, calm down! Knocked to the floor, Al-Karawan gingerly fingered his split lip. And after I gave you such good info, too, he grumbled. Detective Tateno was assigned to protect Hitomi Osawa, Kano shouted. Hello there, living corpse. You can't expect me to believe you're rubbish, really? Alright. He lunged around the table, ready to throw another punch, but his fellow detectives held him back. Al-Karawan looked away indifferently. It's your Detective Tateno you should be arresting, not me. That girl's going to get killed. You need to step in line, pal, Kano bellowed. Kano, his colleague shouted. You're the one who needs to step in line. Go and cool off for a bit. Expelled from the interrogation room, Kano immediately pulled out his cell phone and called Tateno's number. Please pick up. He clutched his phone tight, pleading under his breath. But Tateno didn't answer. Kano sat down in a chair in the hallway in a bit of a daze. He found himself holding the present Sasayama had gotten for his wife. I have to do something. I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. His restlessness gnawed at him like a rabid animal. Hey, Kano. He looked up to see Kuze standing beside him, his expression grave. I have an update on Sasayama, the director began. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. It seems the knife went in deep enough to do some organ damage. He's in critical condition. I see. Kano bit his lip hard. His handkerchief, red with Sasayama's blood, clung to the wrapping paper of Sasayama's present. Kano peeled it away carefully so as not to tear the paper beneath. "What's that?" asked Kuze. "Sasayama had me hold on to this for him. It's a present for his wife." "Ah, I see." "I'm sorry, Director Kuze, for ignoring your orders." Kano's eyes remained fixed on the gift as he spoke. "When you get down to it, none of this would have happened if it weren't for me." Some kind of punishment was surely headed his way for acting alone as he had. He probably wasn't getting out of this one with a simple written apology. When public servants are negligent in their duties or violate regulations, they can be punished with a warning, a formal reprimand, reduction in pay, suspension, or dismissal. In the case of a warning, in addition to the remonstration from a direct supervisor, the individual must also submit a formal letter explaining the relevant details and assuring that it won't happen again. But Kuze calmly shook his head. "What happened to Sasayama isn't your fault. Don't blame yourself," he said. "As far as this case goes, I've been given quite the runaround myself." There was a rare note of vulnerability in Kuze's voice. "The higher-ups have barely let any information trickle my way, but they're still ordering me around non-stop. It's a real pain in the ass." Kuze fell silent, ruminating. The quiet lingered between the two men for several moments before he abruptly spoke again. "Oh, right. I'd like to get your opinion on something. So, Mamoru Tanaka, who we found in the minivan, you know? What you think? Should we oughta maybe release his name to the media?" Kuze had slipped into his childish register. He was clearly exhausted. After dealing with the kidnapper's baffling actions and too much meddling from the higher-ups, even a veteran like Kuze is just beat. But that's not the only reason for his exhaustion. Kuze has a brother, 6 years his senior, who despite being nominally mature, refuses to get a real job and shows no inclination to settle down with a family. He walks around town day after day dressed like a hippie and treating passersby to songs he's written. Kuze has been worrying about a shiftless brother for years now. The guy's become a chronic source of consternation. Okay. Kano was thrown by the question. It was a rare thing for the director to seek an opinion from a mere junior detective. "It feels like there's something not too normal about one of Kenji Osawa's subordinates dying," Kuze went on. Kano had had the same thought. This felt too intentional to be a coincidence. "So here's the question. Should I get the media involved and try to rush for a resolution, or should I be more cautious?" "What would you do?" "Oh no, don't make me choose." "About releasing the name?" Kano asked. That wasn't such a simple thing to answer. There were so many factors to consider. A tired smile came to Kuze's face. "Don't think about it so hard. This is just so I have a point of reference. Tell me what your gut says." "Oh no, I don't want this choice." "I think releasing the name should be alright. I think we should hold back for now." "I can't make that decision, sir." Legitimately difficult choice. So, A, B, or C, ladies and gentlemen? Yes? No? I don't know. Also, Fool Arcana, you're saying that Osawa's story started awful so it can only go up from here? I mean, we'll see. So yeah, A, B, or C, what is it going to be? Maybe rushing is the best bet. Yeah, considering we are on a very short time limit. That's a vote for A. We have 2 votes for A, 1 vote for B. 1 vote for C. Damn. 2 for C. So it's 2-1-2 right now. Do we have any other takes on this? By the way, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but this has been a very, very quiet installment in terms of background music. There's been very little. Also, oh, fuck, if you're changing your vote then. So it's 1 for A, 1 for B, and 3 for C. 4 for C. Okay. Alright. I can't make that decision, sir. Kano knew he was in no state to make a good call on something this serious. The sad truth was that all he could think about was Sasayama and Tateno. I see. Sorry to ask you such an awkward question. Not at all, sir. Kano dropped his eyes to the blood-spattered gift box again, and Kuze headed back toward the conference room. I get the feeling we were supposed to choose A or B, but we'll get to that later, I guess. On the TV, the governor's press conference was still going on. I've just requested that each of the railroad companies, starting with JR, stop running trains through Shibuya Station until further notice. As far as the roads go, Route 246 has already been closed to traffic. The executive looked pale as he spoke to the crowd. Is there any possibility of a bioterrorist attack? What about the people who are still in Shibuya? The reporters unleashed a barrage of questions. The governor's face scrunched up. As I've already made clear, this is not a complete blockade. Because modern Japan does not have a system for enacting martial law, there are few ways that the government could effectively quarantine Shibuya. In the case of a potential viral infection, the infectious disease law allows for the city to be partitioned into areas of restricted movement. If the authorities do not want to acknowledge the existence of the top-secret UA virus, however, taking such an action would be rather tricky legally. Hello, Katsith. There's nothing to stop anyone from leaving Shibuya on foot. Well, isn't what you're describing de facto martial law, spat one reporter? Of course not, the governor snapped. You should be well aware that martial law is illegal. I couldn't declare it even if I wanted to. If you wanted to? So this is a bioterrorist issue then? I never said anything of the sort. The press conference was devolving into chaos. Kano was unsurprised, given the circumstances. Still, everyone was doing their best insofar as they knew how. So why not me, Kano thought. It doesn't matter what I do. I just want to be doing something. Just letting time tick by without trying to take action was more than he could bear. Kano began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. Was worried about Sasayama and decided to visit him in the hospital. Thought about Sasayama's wife and decided to get in touch with her. Damn, this is a legit decision. I don't know if it's going to amount to us actually going to each of the three places, but that's interesting. So ladies and gentlemen, who are we going to talk to? Rumi, Sasayama, or Sasayama's wife? Rumi could use a call. Sasayama's in critical condition and I doubt he'll be responsive, but if he is, we might get a clue. Sasayama's wife, we do have that present, so these are all legitimately compelling options. This is actually quite a decision. Hello there, Sepia. We have one of each, A, B, and C. Do we have any more votes? Yes, Winterburn. Rumi is our fiancé. 2 for C. Keep that promise. 3 for C. 2 for A. So it's 2, 1, 3. Do we have any other options? Okay, 3 for A. So do we have a tiebreaker? Because if not, then I'll have to make a call myself. I'll give slightly longer, but then I'm going to make my own decision. Well, I'm not seeing any more... Oh, we do have one more... We do have one more A. Hello there, General Ledger. Okay. So I guess we're slightly leaning toward A. Alright, let's go. He began to worry about Rumi and decided to give her a call. The phone rang several times before it went to voicemail. The fact that she hadn't picked up made kind of all the more anxious. Oh yeah? He was still staring at his phone when he got a call of his own. I wonder if his choice mattered then. When he appeared at the incoming call display, his heart nearly stopped. There was Tateno's name. Oh boy. Kano quickly pressed the button to accept the call. Detective Tateno? Detective Tateno, is that you? There was a whole mountain of things Kano wanted to ask. Just what had Tateno been doing this whole time? Why had he let Alcarawan go free? And what had happened to Hitomi? But while he was trying to decide what question to pose first, Tateno spoke. I've secured Maria Osawa. No kidding. What? So I guess Tateno is the Kane guy. The word came out as a startled gasp. Detective Tateno, you have to bring her here ASAP. Right now she's... Tateno cut him off. You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi? Osawa? Yes. I heard over the wireless that the man from the U.S. Embassy had her in custody. Kano hadn't been listening to the most recent wireless traffic. Apparently Stanley had managed to find Hitomi. But what was Tateno getting at here? Wait, hold on. What for? I mean, why do you need me to bring Hitomi Osawa to you? There was no reply. Detective Tateno, answer me. Please. Tateno replied as if he hadn't heard Kano's questions. There's an office building in Nanpeidai called South Hill. I'll be waiting for you on the rooftop. If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Damn, this guy's really not messing around. With that grisly warning, he hung up. Kano's hand went limp. His phone slipped from his grasp and fell to the floor. Kano went to South Hill in Nanpeidai alone. The building takes its name from a rough translation of Nanpeidai, the name of the area where it is located. The official name is South Hill Building, but since this is awkward to say, it's frequently shortened. He hadn't brought Hitomi as Tateno had demanded, nor had he reported the situation to Kuze. First, he wanted to meet with Tateno and find out what was going on. He took the elevator to the 8th floor. After that, he had to take the stairs to the rooftop. Oh boy! As he made his way up the steps, he tried to imagine what Tateno might want with Hitomi. Hello there, Chris. He hadn't noticed anything suspicious about the senior detective in the lead-up to the stakeout at the Scramble. Tateno had seemed like the same man Kano had always revered. So why was he doing this? Kano couldn't think of a reason. Reaching the top of the staircase, he at last stepped out onto the open roof. By the way, we are definitely getting some sort of keep out before this happens. If not a bad end, as you say, Kaseth. The time for half-baked conjecture was past. Kano would lay his doubts at Tateno's feet. Then, soon enough, everything would become clear. Inwardly, Kano did his best to convince himself of that. A warm breeze blew against his cheek. Wait, what? Didn't we just say a cool breeze for Maria? The continuity. He took a look around, but saw no sign of Tateno. Detective Tateno, where are you? Getting no response, he began to walk around the rooftop, calling out several more times. It's Kano, I've come as you asked. Where's Hitomi Osawa? Kano whirled around when he heard the voice behind him. Jeez. He's really not playing. Tateno stepped into view from behind a water tank. He led with him a young woman, bound and blindfolded. Why didn't you bring her? He growled. Kano stared in shock. Detective Tateno, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? And now we can bounce back. Tateno responded by removing the young woman's blindfold. There was no doubt about it. She looked very much like Hitomi Osawa. A surge of frustration rushed through Kano. Detective Tateno, what is the meaning of this? Kano fought to remain calm. He felt like he was on the verge of falling to pieces. This dramatic music. Bring me Hitomi Osawa and I'll let this girl go. Why? What do you need Hitomi for? But Tateno's only answer was an icy stare. This isn't like you. It's so weird. The Detective Tateno who I know, who you know, Tateno cut him off. What do you know about me? I know what sort of detective you are, sir, because I've modeled myself after you for my whole career. The older man's expression remained stony. Don't you remember, Kano went on? That time when you risked your life to talk down that man who'd barricaded himself inside that office? Ever since then, you've been my... Tateno interrupted him with a sudden burst of laughter. You really are gullible, you know that? You can only see things the way you want to see them. What do you mean by that? The truth is, I didn't even care if I died doing what I did. That's why I doused myself in gasoline. Tateno's voice had gone low and quiet. That was no display of heroics. It was more attempted suicide than anything else. I wasn't thinking about the other people still inside the building. It's just a coincidence things turned out the way they did. So then, if you'd made a single misstep, then everyone in that building might well have burned to death. You're lying! That can't be true! Kano shook his head insistently. I don't have time for this conversation. Tateno pressed the barrel of his gun to Maria's head. If you don't bring Hitomi Osawa to me, believe me, I'll blow her brains out. Please stop this, Kano shouted. But there was no hesitation in Tateno's eyes. He looked like he really would shoot Maria if Kano didn't do as he asked. Hurry up! Bring Hitomi to me. Can't you at least tell me what's going on? And why the hell you care so much about Achi's sister? Go now, or so help me I'll shoot. Kano drew his own gun from his jacket. I know you, Detective Tateno. I know there's some meaning behind all this. Kano's words came out as an imploring croak. Hello there, Heinrich. You think you can shoot me, Tateno spat. Letting Okarawan go free, taking Maria hostage, this has to mean something. Sweat made Kano's hands slick where he clutched his gun. I asked if you think you can shoot me. I've always looked up to you. You were the sort of detective I wanted to become. Kano's view of Tateno began to blur as tears welled up in his eyes. Can you shoot me, Kano? I can. Even as he cried, Kano stood resolutely doing his best to stare down the older man. He set his finger squarely on the trigger and pointed his gun at Tateno's forehead. Suddenly, the piercing stare vanished from the other detective's eyes. I've got to give you full marks for that, Kano. Tateno smiled thinly. I'll tell you then. I'll tell you why I'm doing this. Keep out? No, we're going. It all happened 17 years ago. A meth addict had assaulted someone in Shibuya. Tateno was questioning people around Dogenzaka in search of the perp. He happened to pass by Endo Electronics. Oh, hey, Tateno! It was Kotone Endo, clad in pristine white. Clutched to her breast was her daughter Suzune, only a few months old. It's been a long time, Kotone said. She flashed a tiny smile. Yes, it has, Tateno replied with a clumsy smile of his own. Oh, so is she the girl in the picture? Are you on the job? Yes, I am. Kotone recoiled slightly at the dour look on Tateno's face. Is something the matter? Well, there's an armed criminal hiding out somewhere in the area. What? I wouldn't leave the shop for a while if you can avoid it. But I have to go to the bank to deposit some money. Surely you can have Daisuke go do it. He's away on a repair job and hasn't come back yet. Tateno let out a one-note sigh. I see Daisuke still does things his own way. Alright, let me escort you to the bank. You mean it? I'd feel a lot safer having you with me. Kotone flashed him a smile so wide that Tateno thought he might lose himself in it. Tateno, Kotone, and Daisuke were childhood friends, there you go, and had gone to school together up through high school. So how is this working? So Endo is not one of the three, Tateno is one guy, and Cane Man is the other. This is crazy. Tateno and Daisuke were always clowning around together. Hello, Michael. And Kotone was always there alongside them, laughing. Actually, did I miss blue text? I'm gonna check that one more time, actually. If there was no blue text, then I apologize. I just want to make sure I got this right. Doing it. Oh my god, it was Kotone Endo. I can't believe it. Yeah, good call, Dragon Ace. This would be why he cares about Achi's sister. Also, wait, I just realized as I was talking about the picture, I said Tateno and Cane Man, but Tateno is the Cane Man. You mean it? I feel a lot safer having you with me. And Kotone flashed him a smile so wide that Tateno thought he might lose himself in it. They were childhood friends. Oh, god damn it, there was no blue text. I blew it. I'm a genius. It had been quite some time since he'd gotten to walk along Dogenzaka with Kotone. How have you been lately? Well, with a newborn to look after, it's been pretty hectic. But there's never a dull moment. Things have been good. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Kotone was always as bright as a sunflower. Sometimes, Tateno managed to convince himself that just the sight of her was enough. Outside the bank, Kotone held Suzune out to him. Tateno received the baby with an anxious frown. What's with the face? I'm not good with babies. I haven't held one very often. Oh, you'll be fine, don't worry. Just hold on to her for a minute while I take care of things inside. Alright. He held the baby gingerly like it was a bomb that might explode at any moment. Kotone chuckled softly. Suzune stirred and squirmed into Tateno's arms. She kinda has Kotone's eyes, he thought. Is it Kotone or Kotone? It was strange, the sensation of holding a child. She was so soft and light, and yet such a real and responsive presence. The faint warmth of her body warmed Tateno inwardly in turn. When Kotone returned after making her deposit, they strolled to a nearby park, Suzune back in her mother's arms. Do you have any plans for marriage, Tateno? I haven't thought about it. Work has me plenty busy. Oh, that's just an excuse, Kotone said. If there really were someone you wanted to marry, you wouldn't let work stop you. Then I suppose it's because there hasn't been anyone I felt that way about. Really? Nobody this whole time? Yeah, really. I see. But still, seeing the two of you like this, it makes me realize how nice having a family could be. Tateno peered deeply into Suzune's face. Well, if it ain't Tateno! He looked up as a cheery voice cut into the conversation. It was Daisuke. What are you doing here, he asked his wife. Well, I could ask you the same question. Come on, give me a break. I've come to make the deposit for the client. In that case, no need to worry. I just took care of it myself. I thought you'd forgotten about it. Huh? Really? Kotone smiled as Daisuke reached down and carefully lifted Suzune in his arms. Beaming happily at his daughter, he nuzzled up against her tiny cheek. Daisuke, long time no see. Yeah, glad you're doing well for yourself, Tateno. They walked side by side, Daisuke proudly showing off Suzune's drowsing face. What do you think? Adorable, isn't she? Yeah, luckily she doesn't have your looks. Hey now, bad-mouthing me the same as ever, huh? Some things hadn't changed since high school. Why not drop by our place for a bit, Daisuke offered. Ah, sorry, I'm in the middle of a job, actually. Tateno turned to glance at Kotone. What the hell? An instant later... Oh, I thought she was holding it. God damn. An instant later, Daisuke screamed, Kotone! A man had come up behind his wife and now held a kitchen knife to her throat. Who the hell is this guy? Kotone stood stiffly, frozen in terror. Let her go! And Tateno took a step toward the man. The slightly upturned eyes, the close-cropped hair, the thin mustache, all the details matched the description. This had to be the man Tateno was after. That wonky-ass text. Shut your damn mouth! You wanna... What is this text? You wanna try and kill me, huh? This lady here wants to try and kill me! The man was babbling nonsense. The reports had said the suspect was a tweaker. Right now, his mind was probably a complete mess from meth withdrawal. Left unchecked, there was no telling what he might do. Tateno shoved Daisuke behind him and drew his gun from his jacket. Wait, don't shoot! You'll hit Kotone! But Tateno ignored Daisuke's shouts and trained his gun on the perp's shoulder. He was confident in his marksmanship. Oh jeez, like Kano's gotta do one of these for Tateno, maybe? He'd never miss at this range. Tateno, please back down, Daisuke pleaded. Suzune still clutched in his arms. I beg you! I can't, Tateno hissed under his breath. This isn't someone we can reason with. The assailant began waving his knife about. He could stab it into Kotone at any moment. Tateno had to take the shot now. He aimed for the shoulder of the arm the man held his knife in. Tateno, stop! Daisuke shouted. Don't do this! For a brief moment, Tateno's eyes met Kotone's. Meowington, I'm assuming the lady dies because we've never seen Achi's mother. He thought he saw her give a tiny nod. Don't shoot! That stock gun sound. Oh, we actually get video for this? Wait, the knife was in the air. Wait for... What? He still had the knife? But he actually got the shot. This isn't like a die-hard thing. It's just like an incredibly unfortunate set of circumstances. It was all over in an instant. By the time Tateno had the perp subdued, Katone's white shirt was soaked through with red. With Katone's death, so too died Tateno's heart. Whatever feelings had lived inside him had been reduced to cinders, leaving only a never-ending need to atone. Yeah, really, Dragon Ace. Like, he had, like, another knife? I don't know how that worked. Countless times he'd thought of ending his life in order to make things up to Daisuke and his children. Oh, he caught the knife? That would be impressive, I guess. The only reason he didn't go through with it is that he knew death would be the easy way out, and so he'd stayed on as a detective. He would carry the weight of his sins with him for as long as he lived. This was the sentence Tateno gave himself. "15 years had passed since Katone's death. For the first time, Tateno had gone to visit her grave. He was standing by the grave marker with his hands clasped when someone called out to him from behind. Excuse me?" A slender young girl stood there, flowers in hand. Tateno instantly recognized her, Suzune. She looked just like Katone had back in her high school days. "Did you know my mother?" she asked. Yes. We were classmates a long time ago." "Oh, really? Thank you so much for coming." Suzune gave a slight bow, then gazed up at Tateno with her big bright eyes. You look just like her." Tateno struggled to hold back the tears. He felt as if Katone stood before him, returned to life. "My father tells me the same thing all the time." "I'm sure once you're all grown up, you'll be just as beautiful as she was." A forlorn smile came to Suzune's face. "Once I'm grown up? Well, I don't think that's going to happen. I guess I really do have a lot in common with my mother, including the part where I'm going to die young." Jeez, that's morbid. "Hey there, Ramon." "Don't be ridiculous," Tateno exclaimed. "Why would you say such a horrible thing?" Suzune took a step backward, looking shocked to be rebuked by a stranger. "My apologies," he said hurriedly. I didn't mean to startle you." "No, it's all right," Suzune murmured, clutching the flowers close. "Hello, Chris. Honestly, it's not something I like to talk about myself, but I'm sick, so there's not really anything I can do to change it." Wow, so, like, not only did he feel bad about Katone, but, like, Suzune is going to be Katone 2, and this could be Tateno's chance to redeem himself. This is a brutal story. Sick? I have a heart condition. A generic expression for illnesses pertaining to the heart, also referred to as heart disease, includes things like heart failure, valvular heart disease, and so forth. A transplant is the only thing that can help me, but my blood type is a little bit weird, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to find me a compatible donor. The immune system exists to get rid of foreign substances in the body. Often a patient's immune system will attack a transplanted organ, which can result in the organ failing or functioning poorly. To mitigate the risk of rejection, it is preferable for the donor and the recipient to have matching body tissue. In the case of a heart transplant, characteristics such as blood type and pre-sensitized antibodies, human leukocyte antigens, must be screened ahead of time. Then, bowing her head, Suzune stepped in front of the gravestone and clasped her hands in silence. Tateno felt a wrenching pain inside him, as if Katone were being taken from him all over again. Yes, Meowington, he needs Hitomi because her blood can help cure Suzune's disease, because they have the same blood type. So he needs Hitomi's heart, I believe. He doesn't care about the whole Maria Hitomi thing, and he probably doesn't even know about it, except that they are siblings. Like, there's this whole bioterrorist thing going after Hitomi, but that's just not relevant. Tateno also happens to be going after Hitomi. If there really was a god, why would he do such dreadful things? Is there nothing I can do? He nearly lamented aloud. I'll do anything. Suzune, I'll do whatever I have to in order to save you. Tateno clenched his fist as he stared at the grave. Tell me, Katane, what can I possibly do for your daughter? Please tell me. Please. And so the months rolled on. Everything changed just after 10 o'clock that morning. Here it comes. Tateno was on the stakeout when his cell phone rang. He glanced at the call display and saw Daisuke Endo's name. He hadn't heard from Daisuke in years now. Fearing that something had happened to Suzune, Tateno answered the call despite his current tense circumstances. At once he heard Daisuke wailing. Suzune had a seizure! She might not come back from this one! Tateno's terrible suspicions had been right on the mark. He felt himself growing weak. Please, Daisuke exclaimed. You need to shoot that girl you're with, that Hitomi Osawa. You need to shoot her in the head. If we have her heart, we could save Suzune. At first, Tateno couldn't make sense of what Daisuke was saying. Yeah, because Tateno was on the case to defend Hitomi, but all of a sudden the circumstances changed. Hurry up and shoot! Shoot her, please! Hitomi Osawa has the Bombay blood type. Wait, hold on, Tateno said, keeping his voice low. You want me to kill Hitomi Osawa? Why? He quickly scanned the area. Daisuke, are you nearby? Wait, where are you? Don't worry about that. If you could just render her brain dead, we'll be able to transplant her heart into Suzune. The term brain dead refers to a state where the entire brain, including the brain stem, is beyond any recovery. In Japan, brain death is defined by Article 6 of the Act on Organ Transplantation, which states that brain death can only be declared with the goal of authorizing a transplant, and is subject to the judgment of at least 2 doctors inspecting the patient according to a preset process at least 6 hours apart. Yeah, Dragon Ace, we knew last stream that the dad... we knew that he asked for Hitomi to be brought in brain dead, so this is when he's actually asking. Shooting someone in the head didn't necessarily guarantee they'd wind up brain dead, and even assuming it did, if Tateno shot the Osawa girl here in the middle of the scramble, it would cause a giant incident. By the time the autopsy was completed, the window for a heart transplant would surely have passed. Oh, Dragon Ace, Hitomi's family allowing a transplant is completely irrelevant. He was going to have her body brought into the doctor, like, by surprise. Like, nobody has permission for this. Tateno, shoot her, please! Daisuke, I can't. You know I can't do that. Hurry! It was like his old friend wasn't even listening to him. Look, even if she did wind up brain dead, they wouldn't be able to perform a transplant. But Daisuke kept on shouting. It's fine! It'll be fine! I'll make the transplant work somehow! You'll make it work? Even knowing how ridiculous that was, part of Tateno wanted to know what he had in mind, if anything. I finally found it! I found something we could do for Suzune! Please, help me help her! Tateno understood Daisuke's feelings painfully well. To be helpless to stop the suffering of someone you loved, nothing in the world hurt as much as that. I want to save Suzune! Tateno, this is the one thing I will ever ask of you! Tateno could hear choked weeping from the other end of the line, and at that sound, something inside him shifted. And then he became, as the chat keeps calling, in the T-800, who's just relentlessly running down Achi and Hitomi. Yes. Yes, Daisuke was right. The likelihood of a transplant happening wasn't the issue. What mattered was that right now he could take action. He could do something for Suzune. He mustered up his resolve, feeling the doubt lift from his heart. For Suzune. For the daughter of the woman he'd loved. Tateno checked his gun, tucked inside his jacket, then slowly began making his way through the crowd toward Hitomi. Yeah, right, Fakafan? What is it with the dads in this story? Now you know why we're here. Tateno gestured subtly with his gun, its barrel still pressed against Maria's temple. Kano's own gun wavered in his hands. He was crying inside. There was nothing else he wanted to hear from Tateno now, and now he was sure of one thing. Words were never going to stop this man. Kano, Tateno said, at my age, I've seen all sorts of young detectives come and go. He fixed his lonesome gaze on Kano. And you're about the worst of the lot. Whenever it's time to take action, you immediately do something reckless. Do you know how many formal apologies I've had to write because of you? Tateno let out a heavy sigh. But you know, Kano, because of the way you've looked up to me, you've saved me. And that's the truth. He sounded like a man speaking his last words. Now, come on. See if you can stop me. He pressed the gun harder against Maria's temple. Kano took aim at his former hero's head. Detective Tateno? His finger wavered on the trigger. Shoot him. You have to shoot him. If you don't shoot him, Maria is going to die. He tried desperately to convince himself. I am going to stop you. Tateno looked him coldly in the eye. Do it then. Shoot me. Kano stared right back. He tightened his finger on the trigger. Oh, here it comes! Maybe? Somebody fired something. Oh, damn! There wasn't even choice in Kano's thing. It was tell the media or not. That might affect somebody. But the phone call thing I don't think mattered at all. This was just a free run through Kano's story. Yo, this is brutal. The downer continues. Good lord. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the ability to bounce to Maria. We have the ability to bounce to Osawa. But Osawa's the only guy left. Because I think Minorikawa was held up. Let's go. I don't want to know how people feel. All I want to know is what viruses feel. I prefer viruses because they make no move to encroach on me from the other side of my microscope. They leave me free to let my thoughts wander as I wish. And while it may be true to say I understand viruses, I have never been able to understand my fellow humans. I don't know them. I don't know a single fundamental thing about them. With Tanaka dead, trying to use the backup passwords for the fingerprint scanner had become a hopeless endeavor. The only remaining means of gaining entry to the storage area was to issue an emergency unlock request to the electronic lock manufacturer. And in order to do that, they needed approval from the 6 members of the board of directors. Returning to his study, Osawa called Makino's personal cell phone. "What is it?" Makino said gruffly as soon as he picked up. Osawa informed him of the situation, including Tanaka's death, and the fact that Maria was infected. The news left Makino at a loss for words. "Please," Osawa begged, "you need to hold an emergency board meeting." Makino was silent for a few moments. "I'm afraid I can't do that." Dave. "Why not? Are you just going to sit by and let my daughter die?" Osawa raged. "And not just her. If Maria goes symptomatic..." If Maria goes symptomatic. That was still only an if, but Osawa was reluctant to put his fears into words. "If she goes symptomatic, the UA virus will sweep through all of Tokyo." "I realize that," Makino replied, "but one of the board members is overseas on business. Holding a meeting is impossible." Despite the gravity of the situation, he sounded astoundingly nonchalant. Osawa couldn't back down now. There must be some other option, like a web conference or something. "That doesn't help us if we can't get in touch with him," Makino huffed. "He went missing a few days ago in the middle of his business trip." The head of Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' New York branch has been missing since April 25th, 9 p.m. local time. There have been no demands for a ransom, and so the New York Police Department is investigating the possibility of some other form of foul play. What? Osawa was almost too appalled to be angry. "That's the most ridiculous lie I've ever heard. Would you like to speak to my on-site contact if you don't believe me?" This was like arguing with a child. If Makino was deliberately working against him, he'd never know if this disappearance was real or not. "In that case, can you please appoint a representative in his stead?" Osawa pleaded. Selecting a representative is a complicated process. Even if we started right now, it would take until sometime tomorrow afternoon to complete. Tomorrow afternoon? By then it would be too late for any of this to matter. Sir, can't you see how absurd the things you're saying are? What would you have me do? Makino barked. These are the realities of corporate politics. I understand, sir. You will do nothing for my daughter. That's what you're saying. That's not what I'm saying, Makino replied. Look, I'll see what I can do to appoint a representative more quickly. He hung up. His tone had suggested that waiting for an appointee wouldn't be a terribly hopeful prospect. I have no more allies, Osawa thought. All I have left now are foes. He couldn't count on anyone anymore. Osawa was going to just have to get the antiviral by himself. Still, he'd just have to take Makino at his word. Right now, that was his only course of action. Damn. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing this by ourselves. We'll take Makino at his word. What is this going to be? A or B? I am most curious. I think I know what I would choose, but I'm curious to see where the chat would go for this one. Any takes on this, by any chance? We have 1 for A, 2 for A, 1 for B, 3 for A, 4 for A, 2 for B, but it's looking like A right now, 5 for A, 3 for B, still looking like A. Yeah, A's taking over, alright. Doing it by ourselves. Tanaka might be dead, but there still must be some way to get that lock open. Taking extra care to avoid the notice of the detectives, Osawa snuck out of the house and headed for the garage. That's okay, we can bounce back to him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, who are we going to bounce to? Osawa or Maria? Yeah, there are no jumps for Achi. Kano can jump to Maria, but we're not that far down with Maria yet, so I don't even know if we can jump down with Maria. No, Maria's not an option, actually. I guess we're jumping to Osawa, we have to. No, sorry guys, I'm sorry, I asked the chat, who should we jump to, but we can't do Maria. Alright, we're doing it. As he was driving past Aoyama, Osawa spotted a man he recognized walking along. He pulled up alongside him and called out through the window. Mr. Minorikawa! Oh, Mr. Osawa. Sorry, but I haven't been able to look into that thing you asked about yet. I see. That's quite alright. Yeah, we've had this conversation, right? Get in! The business with Ai and Tanaka could wait until later. Right now, he needed to focus on protecting Shibuya. If he didn't get his hands on that antiviral... You're caught up in something big, aren't you? How do you know that? Because I'm Minoru Minorikawa. Well, the man's egotism had some justification. Maybe he didn't know the details, but he clearly had some inkling about Osawa's situation. Something clicked in Osawa's mind. He was up against the wall. Okoshi Pharmaceutical had told him they were going to just let Maria die. He was past the point where he could resolve this peaceably, but he was not going to give up without a fight. When it came time, Osawa was sure this man could help him. Well, that'll make this simpler, I guess. Get in. I'll tell you everything. Minorikawa thought for a moment, then got into the passenger's seat. As he drove to the lab, Osawa filled Minorikawa in on all the details. The reporter listened intently, occasionally interrupting to ask a question. So how are you planning on getting your hands on the antiviral, he asked when Osawa had finished. I'm not sure. I figured I'd think of something after I got there. Minorikawa let out a nasal chuckle. Just improvising, huh? Ah, well, I'll back you up. At least I know I found my way into something important. Remember, this is where Minorukawa got his bad end, so we'll have to see if we can change things. They pulled up outside the lab, and the two men got out of the car. Yup. We've seen this. Immediately, a team of security guards burst out through the gate and forced Osawa to the ground. Hey! Minorukawa protested. What the hell is this? The guards had grabbed him as well. Unhand me, Osawa yelled. I'm Kenji Osawa. This is my lab. Mr. Osawa, Minorukawa shouted. What the hell is going on here? But Osawa was just as confused. Oh man, stone cold. Watch this guy be Alphard. He looked up to see Makino standing before him. Sir, tell these thugs to let me go. But Makino just frowned silently down at him. So, not only will you not help me, you're actively getting in my way? Osawa glared up at his boss. Maria's life, no, countless human lives, are at risk. And there's nothing that you alone can do about that. That's what I need you to understand. Makino gave a signal to the guards, who proceeded to drag Osawa away. The scientist writhed with despair at his own impotence. In the end, there was nothing I could do. Bad end, I guess? We'll choose the other option? Alright. Jeez. Okay, then. Makino's meddling. So we actually were supposed to wait for the guy? Osawa decided to try to get the antiviral in directly, and even got some unexpected help from Minorukawa along the way. Unfortunately, upon arriving at the lab, they had a run-in with Makino and his security goons. It looks like Osawa's just not going to be able to get into his laboratory. He'll have to make some other decision. Wow, so now Minorukawa's story can change because we're not going to pass him in Osawa's car. That's interesting. Damn. Well, I didn't think that that was just a no-win situation. How about that? Interesting. So, his tone is suggested, da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. I actually really thought that A was the correct answer, too. But, okay. So, we're gonna have to take Makino at his word. How about that? Okay. And now we can play as Minorukawa after this whole thing goes down. Osawa sat down in front of his computer and quietly closed his eyes. If only I could just go to sleep and wake up tomorrow morning and find all this resolved. All I'm asking for is a miracle. But he knew reality would never be so kind. He could hold his eyes shut as long as he wanted, and it wouldn't make this hopeless situation go away. He felt the anxiety welling up inside him until it seemed like he was going to explode. Needing a distraction from his helplessness, Osawa opened up IANET. He knew this was mere escapism, but he couldn't just sit and do nothing while waiting for Makino to call back. He posted a new topic with the title, I Have Fortune Teller. Meowington, for the achievement, for the bad endings, I think there's an achievement for all bad endings in each chapter, but there's an achievement for getting every bad ending. We just now got, I think, number 32 for bad ends. Not number 32, I mean we have 32 bad ends now, I think. In fact, someone had told me, I've never done this before, but press start in the middle of a text screen and you can just get a bad ending list, which is ridiculous. I've never even done this. So this is a list of bad endings. You can check for hints as to why things ended as badly as they did. So yeah, we actually have a bunch. That's actually super cool, and it's great that they number them too. So, your future is garbage. So I can look up which bad endings to get later. Super cool the game offers this option. I tried the Aya Fortune Teller. My results basically said I was a bad person who can't connect to the people around me. And you know what? That's exactly right. I'm only interested in my own little world. That's probably why my wife and my assistant at work got so fed up with me. This is depressing, man. It's the same with my two daughters. What sort of things are they interested in? Do they have a lot of friends? What are their aspirations for the future? I don't know any of those things. It never even occurred to me to find out. I'm such a terrible father. God damn, this is brutal. Meowington, you are damn right we need that bandit achievement. I'm going for it. Or at least I will. Osawa's fingers ceased their tapping on the keyboard as he thought back to when Maria and Hitomi were younger. Daddy! The two girls would follow him around like a pair of puppies. Their father was their everything. That much was clear just by looking at their faces. He'd felt a ticklish giddiness at having his girls cling to him, so he'd never felt anything like it in his life. But there were times where he also found it irksome. I am sick of being the person I am. There's nothing I can do about that, though. Yeah, for real, Fool Arcana, the goal of this stream, and the previous one, and the next one if we don't have time, is to just survive the hour. I'm sure it's far too late for me to change. He poured out all his negative emotions into his post. It felt like stream of consciousness drivel, but he didn't hesitate to write it down all the same. He wanted other people to know what a miserable excuse for a human being he was. At last, when he couldn't think of anything else to add, he posted his bitter confession to the forum. He was staring numbly at the monitor when he heard a furious shout from the next room. "You have got to be kidding me!" It was Kajiwara, and Osawa had never heard him so angry. What? What? You know it's serious when Kajiwara gets mad. Osawa headed into the living room and found Kajiwara embroiled in a vehement argument with the other detectives. "I don't care what HQ's policy is. I will not just quietly go along with this." Kajiwara had already screamed himself red in the face. Damn. "You're out of line," snapped one MPD detective. Kiichi Sawatari, with the Metropolitan Police Department's first criminal investigation section. Having heard of Kajiwara's past deeds from friends of the Shibuya precinct, he recommended to his boss that Kajiwara be assigned to the investigation at the Osawa residence. After seeing the detective's interactions with Osawa, he is confident that his recommendation was in the right. However, given the circumstances, he can't help but take a cold stance toward Kajiwara. "Hold your tongue." "I don't care if I'm out of line." "You may have talent, I'll give you that," the other detective said, "but you're a precinct detective, and this isn't your jurisdiction. It's not your place to question orders from higher up." Wait, Osawa thought, Kajiwara really is a real detective after all? "Yeah, right, General Ledger. Someone ate his last banana, didn't they?" "Go on. Explain the situation to Mr. Osawa." Kajiwara bit his lip in frustration at the other detective's order. "Very well," he said. But before he could say more, Osawa noticed that the police equipment had all been cleared off of the table. Oh, jeez. "Hold on," Osawa said. "What's going on? Has something happened?" "Allow me to explain, sir," Kajiwara said. His bitterness showed plainly on his face. "We've been recalled, sir. The MPD has established a security force headed by members of its Public Security Bureau to deal with the bioterrorist threat. Because the kidnapping task force has not yet found Maria and she's infected with the virus, the task force personnel have instead been absorbed into the security force and will continue their work under its direction." Osawa narrowed his eyes, fighting to keep the confusion from his face. What do you mean by that?" He was shaking, terrified to have his suspicions confirmed. "I'm truly sorry, sir, for having been unable to help you." Kajiwara gave a deep and solemn bow. "But Maria? What's going to happen to Maria?" "Another unit has been tasked with bringing your daughter into custody, sir." "Well, that much at least Osawa could process." "You're going to place her under quarantine, aren't you?" Kajiwara's lips stiffened, but he nodded. "In order to minimize the spread of the virus, so I'm told." "No!" Osawa cried. "You can't do that! If you do, there won't be any way to save her!" His head spun. "Please, I beg of you, you need to get Maria to me! I might be able to save her!" When Kajiwara didn't respond, he turned to the other detectives. "Please, you can't place Maria under quarantine!" But the detective's only answer was to avert their eyes. "Why are you all ignoring me? Please, you have to listen! If you bring her to me, I can figure something out! I know I can!" He plunked himself down on the floor, yelling and flailing his arms like a child throwing a tantrum. I love how nobody can make eye contact. They're just like, "Yeah, sorry." The detectives exchanged sullen looks with one another, and then walked off and left him there. He knew he must be a sorry sight, but nevertheless, he kept shouting after them. "Please, don't stand by and let my daughter die!" Only Kajiwara remained with him in the living room. I'm sorry, sir. This was beyond my ability to stop. He gave another apologetic bow. Osawa felt suddenly deflated. No, you've done a fine job, Detective Kajiwara. It's me who should be sorry. It's I, but... Osawa's distraught. I'll let it slide. I have made such a disgraceful display of myself. That's not true, sir. In fact, I'm deeply moved. I could tell how much Maria must mean to you. Osawa shook his head. If I had really been thinking about Maria, I would have made an effort to work with you detectives more. That was all just self-absorbed shouting. A moment of emotional selfishness. And yet, as a result, you convinced me to stay here with you. Kajiwara proceeded to pull out his phone and put in a request with the task force headquarters to remain at the Osawa residence. He got into a heated spat with his commanding officer, but ultimately received permission to stay on as the police liaison with Osawa. Damn. Well, the detective said when he hung up, you see, there are some people who are legitimately moved by a parental display of emotion, even if I'm not certain that I can do very much in staying here with you. That's not true, Osawa replied. There's plenty you can help me with. He looked into Kajiwara's face and smiled. For instance, I can have a banana whenever I want. Yeah! You find things that have gone missing. That fried egg on rice you made me was delicious. A and C are stupid, and B is okay. So, yeah, which one should we do, ladies and gentlemen? Banana, find things, fried egg on rice in the kitchen. These are goofy-ass options. So, how is this going to work out, chat? I am getting excited. What's it going to be? With this dead silence in the backgrounds, jeez. So much emotional silence in this chapter. 1B, 1A. B and A is the start of banana. Hello, you United. Wow, just everybody's going for A. You forgot unclogging the toilet. Too real. Alright, so many A's. We're going with A. Alright, let's go. I can have a banana whenever I want. Kajiwara returned Osawa's grin even more brightly. Yes, yes, of course. I have 17 more right here. By all means, have as many as you like. What? He then produced a pear? What? Wait, what? Really? A pear? From his pocket, handing one to his companion. That's so odd. Osawa peeled his banana and took a hearty bite. The mild sweetness was pleasant and soothing. It was a flavor that brought back memories. I often eat bananas when I go to the park with my daughter, Kajiwara muttered between mouthfuls. I didn't realize you had a daughter, Detective. She just started grade school this year. Oh, really? She must be adorable. Well, I don't get to see her as much as I'd like. A lonely sort of smile crossed Kajiwara's face. Why's that? Doing this job caused me to neglect my family. Finally, about 2 years ago, my wife hit me with the divorce paperwork. I wanted to be able to keep our daughter with me, but, well, the law tends to favor the mother when it comes to custody issues. The detective then pulled 2 bars of chocolate from his pocket. God damn it, Kajiwara! How much food do you have? And that's kind of big, too. It's good to have something sweet when you're exhausted, he said. Osawa took one, but said nothing. More recently, my ex-wife has been talking about getting remarried, Kajiwara continued. And she wants me to stop seeing our daughter. He bit into his own chocolate bar with a soft snap. It's no less than I deserve, but it still hurts. Osawa couldn't help but sympathize. The man was losing his daughter. Here was someone he could really talk to. He was sure of that much now. Detective, I apologize. I've kept things from you because I was worried that they involved classified corporate information. Oh? Kajiwara's eyes glimmered with interest. Earlier today, I received some emails. They could be pertinent to the case. Would you mind letting me see them? Osawa shook his head. On the contrary... Back in front of his computer, Osawa saw that IONNet was still open. Pretty Honey had responded to his forum post. Hey! Other bitter old man responding to him! Oh, one moment, let me read this. Osawa read the response from what has to be Shizuo, Kano's fiance, like Rumi's father. Or, this was no time to be looking at the internet, Osawa closed the browser. So we could get a legitimate, helpful, therapeutic response to Osawa's cry for help, or we could look at the pressing emails that might be important to the case. A or B, ladies and gentlemen? Pretty Honey or Alphard? What's it gonna be? I love the chat's all like, oh man, Kajiwara. Everyone's going with A, too. This is like unanimous right now. Let's get that Pretty Honey response. Remember, it's not a Cutie Honey reference after all. It's the pretty honey apples this guy grows in his orchard. And this chat is exploding with A right now. It's 8-0. This is amazing. Oh, one moment. Let me read this. Osawa read the response. I got that same result. Do you really think it's too late? Don't give up hope. Hang in there. The cute emoticon. It's never too late. Every family has its share of problems. Like, you'll never find one that doesn't, I'm sure. When it comes to family, there's no such thing as game over. So don't let it get you down, Julie. Was that Osawa's name, Julie or something? I forgot, I guess. Besides, I did learn one thing from reading your post. In the end, a father's happiness is his daughter's happiness. I love that, again, the user was in the 40-plus, like, adult group, but claiming to be a teenager, but it's like, no. Kajiwara peered into the monitor. A young girl is posting to a forum for people 40 and older? It's Pretty Honey. She always replies to my threads. The detective furrowed his brow. I see. Is something the matter? No. That last line there just has me curious is all. Yeah, a father's happiness is his daughter's happiness. Like, that's way too, like, parental for some teenager. A young girl writing something like that? Yeah. Well, that's neither here nor there right now. Let me see those emails if you would. That's pretty great. Yeah, Winterburn. There's no such thing as game over. They're called bad ends here. And yeah, Shizuo typing with those cutesy emoticons. Osawa opened his email. He pulled up the images of the human testing on the monitor. What is this? Kajiwara stared at the monitor as if unable to look away. These are images from unauthorized clinical testing of an antiviral drug I developed, carried out by my company without my knowledge. Images of a... I'm sorry, what was that? The detective frowned at the unfamiliar terminology. No, Meowington, we've already been over this. It's not Maria. Maria's being held hostage right now. Pretty Honey is Shizuo, Rumi's father. Like the grizzled older man who apparently knows judo. In simple terms, the antiviral is a wonder drug to combat the UA virus. Hold on. Maria is infected with the UA virus, isn't that right? Yes. UA is a species of virus discovered in South Africa relatively recently. Roughly 12 hours after infection, patients develop a cough, then a fever, then begin vomiting, and ultimately begin to bleed uncontrollably from all over, resulting in death. The mortality rate is... Osawa was reluctant to say it. Kajiwara held his breath, waiting. It's nearly 100%. Even Kajiwara is really thrown off. Kajiwara shuddered. But wait, he said after a moment, if you have this wonder drug, then Maria... Osawa shook his head. Without Tanaka, I have no means of getting it out of the lab. Kajiwara's frown deepened. I see. It may not be much to go on, but I think we could put together at least one piece of our little mystery here. What is a mystery? Something difficult or impossible to explain. An enigma. You see plenty of books titled The Mystery of Such and Such, or The Secret of Whatever on bookstore shelves, but when you read them, you're invariably disappointed by the mystery not being that mysterious after all. Okay. Pardon me one moment. Kajiwara inspected the email address of the sender, A, then brought up the mail header. You don't see email addresses like this much. It's seemingly from a foreign country, but that may be fake. You can tell that just from the email? The detective flashed a little grin. Take a look here. So if we just do this, and then this, his fingers flew over the keyboard, calling up the header details, singling out the received from field. This set of 4 numbers at the bottom is the sender's IP address. Think of it as an ordinarily hidden location marker of sorts. As he spoke, the detective pulled up a website called IP Station. He copied and pasted the set of 4 numbers and pressed the enter key. The monitor showed the name of the provider, connection method, and other such details. A vendor that provides an internet connection service. A typical internet connection requires a dedicated line. Customers who do not already have one must make a contract for one with the provider. When the provider establishes your connection to the internet, you are assigned an identifying number called an IP address. Osawa couldn't make heads or tails of most of it, but one thing drew his eye. Access point, Shibuya Ward, Tokyo. Kajiwara went to the email program's options and checked the server info for Osawa's connection. Deep furrows formed in his forehead. This is the same provider that you use, Mr. Osawa. What does that mean? What kind of internet connection do you have here at your house? What sort? Well, it's plugged in over there, but Osawa pointed at the router. And does everyone in your family use that same line? Yes, I think so. Kajiwara opened up a command prompt and typed ipconfig. A literal prompt for users to issue computer control commands via keyboard instead of a mouse. Also frequently used to refer to the window or command or program allowing for such. Anybody run DOS back in the day? Huh? Anybody? Okay, so if the same numbers we saw before pop up here, that's a bad sign. Oh? Osawa stared at the monitor. Kajiwara pressed enter and a black window covered in white alphanumeric characters appeared. What the heck? Kajiwara muttered under his breath. Wait, what's going on? Osawa asked. Explain simply so I can understand. Faking an email address is simple enough, but the typical person wouldn't be able to fake an IP. It's very likely that these emails were sent from another computer. The call was coming from inside the house! Osawa had to stifle a gasp. The emails had been sent from his own house at around 11 o'clock that morning. Since Osawa hadn't sent them himself, that left only one possible culprit. Her name does start with A, but like... What? Suddenly his phone rang, nearly startling him out of his seat. Makino's name showed on the incoming call display. Osawa quickly picked up. Is there an update on the emergency board meeting? He blurted. Makino's voice was quiet and subdued. I tried pulling whatever strings I could, but to no avail. I'm afraid holding a board meeting today just won't be possible. The phone fell from Osawa's hand. His only possible means of saving Maria was now gone. God damn, this is a brutal, brutal second to last chapter. Holy crap, dude. And I still think it's impossible to jump to Maria, but we can do Minorikawa now that Osawa is not picking him up. See, I can't go down anymore. This is a good thing. So we're going to talk to that punk and he's going to walk away. Something that could take a man down in a single blow. May as well go with my usual, which makes me nervous. Don't you go anywhere till I get back. Man, what a dumbass. And this is when he was going to go jump with Osawa. But wait, a taxi. But this time not going to hit Achi. Kimizuka. Need a ride, sir? Kimizuka asked, all politeness as he opened the back door. If you're heading to that publishing office again, I could get you there in 10 minutes. Kimizuka's driving was as smooth as always. He wove his way skillfully through a series of back streets. So now Minorikawa does not have the full story from Osawa. He's going to have to put some pieces together. There was some big explosion earlier, he explained. The main roads are all gridlocked. Yeah, Minorikawa muttered. I was there when it happened. Oh wow, really? I'm glad to see you're not hurt then. This is the same conversation before we hit Achi. What a terrible thing, that minivan. Someone was inside it. I don't know if you know. Yeah, I'm aware. Oh, nothing gets past a reporter like you. We've read this. Rumor has it that the person who died was a middle-aged man. We taxi drivers hear quite a bit ourselves. Minorikawa just cast his eyes down forlornly. Saving, here we go. You look tired, sir. Yeah, I guess so. His reply was barely audible. Because remember, Minorikawa suspects that Toyama is dead. We know better, but Minorikawa does not. The taxi stopped outside of Heaven Publishing. The trip had taken 10 minutes on the dot. Thanks. Minorikawa left a 1,000-yen bill on the seat and exited the cab. Sir, the driver called after him. Minorikawa turned around. Kimizuka was leaning out the window to point at him. It isn't called work because it's fun, sir. The day will be over soon enough. Just hang in there a little bit longer. The driver finished with a knowing grin. What a guy! Minorikawa cracked a ghost of a smile. Maybe his spirit's been lifted just a tiny little bit. So Minorikawa kind of has Miku, but definitely has Kimizuka. Maria has Yanagishita. Osawa has Kajiwara. Achi doesn't really have a constant comic relief partner. That doesn't quite work. And Kano had Stanley. Thank you, he replied. You're a true friend of the working man. He waved half-heartedly, then headed into the building. Hey! I forgot Chiaki! I forgot she's back! Mr. Mino! Chiaki threw herself at him as soon as he opened the door to the editing office. News of the explosion was playing on the television. Minorikawa marched straight to his desk and opened up his laptop. While it booted up, he tried to get a handle on the current situation. Where are the folks at the loan company? He asked. They're here, Chiaki said. I have them waiting downstairs. Do they know Toyama's dead? I'm sorry. I kinda let that slip. What about Hana? I'm not sure. I haven't heard from her since she called earlier. With a tiny sigh, Minorikawa started typing at his laptop. By some miracle, his 6 pages of the copy were nearly wrapped up. Still, he needed to do whatever it took to see this job through the end. That would serve as his final tribute to Toyama's memory. He loaded his copy into the DTP software in order to set the layout. Bit by bit, actual magazine articles began to take shape. Then the editing department door swung open. Oh my god, the loan sharks. Hey, snarled the young man who barged in first. He kicked over a stack of books. How long are you going to keep us waiting, huh? I love these guys. Constantly getting their ass kicked, and yet constantly intimidating. Honestly, Sagawa, must you be so rowdy? A middle-aged man stepped in alongside him. Are you Mr. Minorikawa, then? He added, as his eyes fixed on the journalist. He held out his business card. A pleasure to meet you. I'm Asa Ozu, from Takarada Financing, a black market lending firm that offers loans at an interest rate above what the law allows, well known for taking whatever steps necessary to collect what's owed. Its business card slogan, got bad credit but you need a loan? Call anytime. We'll put together a loan that suits your needs. My deepest sympathies about Mr. Toyama. However, I'm afraid that we do need you to give us back the money we loaned. Despite his polite tone, the threat in his voice was plain. Look, next month's issue of 4-Star General Gossip is definitely coming out. Couldn't you please wait for the repayment until we have the funds from those sales? Minorikawa asked. That was exactly what Toyama's plan had been, after all. Well, we certainly aren't monsters. If the magazine is going to be making you money, we wouldn't mind delaying another month. You really mean it? Chiaki chirped. To clarify, that would be the case, if Toyama were still alive. Releasing the next issue is all well and good, but with Toyama gone, so too is the company. That will make full repayment of what we're owed impossible, I expect. Then what do you want us for? Minoru asked coldly. How about we just cut to the chase, growled the younger man, Sagawa. Dig out your ears and listen up. Chiaki recoiled in a panic, and Minorikawa held up an interposing hand. Knock it off, he said. You're scaring the young lady. A thin smile came to Ozu's face. All we want to know is where Mr. Toyama's daughter is. Jesus. Yeah, that's right, Sagawa said. Tell us where the girl is. No way, Chiaki squealed in protest, or squeaked. Hana's just a little kid. She doesn't have any responsibility to pay back the... And Ozu didn't let her finish. This guy. We're aware of that. Nevertheless, we'd still like to know where she is. The law didn't matter right now. Guys like this had all sorts of ways of wringing money out of people. It was clear from the looks on their faces that Ozu and Sagawa had some wicked scheme up their sleeves. Unless, of course, you would prefer to take on Toyama's debts, Mr. Minorikawa? You are quite the accomplished reporter, after all. Take on his debts, huh? Minorikawa didn't know how much Toyama had borrowed, but it only took one look at these guys to tell him it was no small sum. How about it? Ozu asked. The way you land scoop after scoop, I'm sure you'll be able to repay us in full before you die. Jesus. Minorikawa fiercely returned to stare. All right, I'll take on the debt. I'll consider it. Could you give me some time? Can't we just call it even? Oh, damn, people. How's it going to be? The noble path? The noble but maybe more realistic path? Or probably not going to work, but we'll see what happens? I bet you B and C don't work, but I'm still curious as to where this can go. Do we have any options, people? A is for all right, B is for I'll consider it, and C is for can't we just call it even? Ladies and gentlemen, where are we going with this? And we actually have music this time. C. A. C. Anything else? Or I'm going with C. Yeah, Winterburner might be a non-choice. 2 for A. 3 for C. Alright, I'll go with C. Honestly, I'm surprised. I think this is the least effective answer, but we'll see. I've been wrong before many times. Can't we just call it even? Hello there, Jin. The two men stiffened. What was that? The older of the two demanded. No. Wow! Wow! Nothing. Never mind. B, double down. Can't we just call it even? Okay, let's vote one more time, chat. I'm sorry to do this twice in a row, but A or B? A, just kidding. B, you heard me. Can't we call it even? How's this gonna work? I'll give a little bit of time for voting, but I think I know where this one's gonna go. What do we have working for us right now? B. B. Yeah, B all in, no kidding. Don't back down! Yeah, we're doing B for sure. Can't we just call it even? This time can't we just call it even? This time Minorikawa spat the words out sharp and clear. The older fellow furrowed his brow, a vein pulsing visibly at his temple. It's so anime. You want to say that one more time, he growled. Minorikawa cleared his throat. Wow, I'm just gonna go. Call it even. Of course. The next thing Minorikawa knew, he'd been headbutted right between the eyes. An instant later, he was slammed bodily down onto the desk. You dumb bastard! He could vaguely hear the middle-aged man's voice ringing inside his head. That's when he lost consciousness. They really did not want us to go that way. Mr. Mino. Someone was calling to him. Mr. Mino, wake up. Chiaki? That wasn't a bad end, are you kidding me? He forced his eyelids back open. What happened? Here, could you please read this? Chiaki held out a printed draft of her article. How long had he been knocked out? A minute? No, maybe an hour? Are you awake now, sir? The voice of the middle-aged thug intruded in his dazed mind. Oh, they're just right there. Looking around, Minorikawa saw the two men from Takarada Financing still there, casually seated on the sofa. He couldn't have been out for too long, then. We'll just wait here until you're inclined to take on this debt. Minorikawa's nose stung painfully. Please, can you read this? Chiaki repeated. It's my copy from those street interviews. I know even if next month's issue gets released, it's not going to fix the debt problem. But still, I mean, I already wrote it and all. Nodding silently, Minorikawa took hold of the copy. She was right, this wasn't going to help with the debt situation. But when a professional took on a job, they saw it through to the end. Minorikawa gave it a quick once-over. He saw immediately that the piece was lacking in structure. Oh dear. He then read the article a second time, checking the finer details. Several off-theme sentences jumped out at him. This is no good. Rewrite it. He thrust the printout back at Chiaki. Yes, sir. She bowed her head and retreated to another desk. Oh, boy. The TV was still on. A news broadcaster's voice suddenly broke through the silence, as well as Minorikawa's concentration. We're live on the scene now, where an explosion in Shibuya has... Minorikawa gazed blankly at the screen. He found his mind drifting to a particular memory of Toyama. The door looked like it might fall apart at any moment, but Minorikawa didn't care. He pounded on it as hard as he could. The Toyama nameplate popped off and fell to the floor. It was hard to believe this dilapidated apartment was the home of a newspaper editor who'd worked his way up from reporter. "Hey, Toyama, get your ass out here!" At the sound of Minorikawa's angry shouting, other tenants on the floor poked their heads out of the rooms to stare. He paid them no heed, continuing to call out. Eventually, Toyama opened the door, dressed in his sweats and undershirt. "Quiet down, you moron," he snapped. "Come on in." "I hear you tendered your letter of resignation at the paper." Minorikawa sat cross-legged on the tatami-covered floor. "Tell me why." Toyama corked a lopsided grin. "You want to know why I quit, huh? All right, lean in close." Minorikawa peered at him dubiously. "And headbutt." "Huh? Why?" "I don't want anyone overhearing this." Resigned, Minorikawa leaned forward and turned his right ear toward Toyama. The man's warm breath against his cheek was pretty unsettling. At first he had trouble concentrating on Toyama's story, but when the older man got to the crux of the matter, he found himself listening with rapt attention. By the time Toyama finished, Minorikawa was unable to suppress his shock. You're starting your own publishing company?" "Not so loud, damn it!" Toyama shushed him with a finger to his lips. He looked around warily, as if there might be spies in his own apartment. "Right, but a publishing company?" Minorikawa said again more quietly this time. "What are you doing for your distributor account?" All booksellers were required to use a wholesale distributor to circulate their publication. To do business with such a distributor, a publisher needed a specialized distributor account. They're not going to let a company with no track record open a new account with a distributor. I'm sure you must realize that. Toyama grinned, a proud gleam in his eyes. "I know. That's why I bought one." "You bought one?" "A ghost account belonging to a publisher that went bankrupt." Distributor accounts could go for tens of millions of yen. There was no way Toyama could afford that on his severance pay alone. He must have taken out a loan in order to make the purchase. Oh boy. But the publishing industry was in a slump nowadays. People just weren't buying books much anymore. Starting up a new publishing company was beyond risky endeavor. "And I've already decided on a name for my company, Minorikawa." Toyama's face was positively beaming. "Get this. Heaven Publishing." "Heaven? That sounds fatalistic." "Well, the idea is that the people who work for me will feel like they're in paradise." For all his kvetching about keeping quiet, Toyama was now exclaiming pretty loudly himself. "I mean, I can appreciate your willingness to take the risk, but surely your wife must have had objections," Minorikawa said. Toyama fell silent. He went and opened up the refrigerator. "Don't call me Shirley," he said. Minorikawa took a peek inside. Its shelves were mournfully spare, holding little beside beer cans and drinking snacks. "The missus left me. Took our daughter with her." "No wonder Hannah's so, like, just out of it all the time." Those scant few words painted the picture clearly enough. Toyama grabbed a can of beer and tossed it to his guest. "But no more sob stories," he went on. He briskly cracked open his own can of beer. Weak foam bubbled from the top. "Cheers, Minorikawa, to Heaven Publishing's big debut." He'd cast everything aside and was striving for a new beginning. If the man had braced himself for the challenge, it wasn't Minorikawa's place to tell him he was making a mistake. Even if it was an uphill battle, he had little chance of winning. "Congrats, Mr. Toyama." Minorikawa pulled the tab on his beer can. "Cheers!" The two of them clacked their cans together. Okay. One year had passed since Toyama founded Heaven Publishing. Minorikawa poked his head into the editing office, a bag from the convenience store in hand. "Hey boss, how's business?" "How does it look like it's doing?" Toyama sat amidst a veritable mountain of returned stock, his expression bleak. Bookstores do not purchase the books they sell, but rather take them on consignment. This allows them to return to the publisher any books that do not sell. The books were all bulky, non-fiction tomes, not exactly the sort to fly off the shelves. The man couldn't even muster a smile for the reunion. "It's been like this for every non-fiction book we put out." "Wow, starting right off with the bleak stuff, huh?" "'Cause things are bleak. The only thing that's selling is this gossip rag of ours." Minorikawa pulled some beer cans from his bag, handing one to Toyama. Toyama lifted an issue of 4-star general gossip from atop his desk. It was Heaven Publishing's one breadwinner, the only thing keeping the company afloat, but the gossip now seemed like it was buried in the red of the publisher's non-fiction releases. "I really did have higher aspirations than this," Toyama sighed, gazing in disappointment at the piles of unsold books. "But here we are, with our gossip magazine, and as our only viable publication." The beleaguered bookseller chugged his beer. "Daddy, I'm hungry." Minorikawa was startled to hear a young child's voice. He turned around to see a little girl nestled between the stacks of returned stock. "That's my daughter, Hana," Toyama said. "It's complicated, but she's living with me now." What happened? I see. Minorukawa couldn't press for more details with Hana right there. In all likelihood, things with Toyama's ex-wife hadn't been going well. Go on, introduce yourself, Toyama said. This is one of Daddy's work friends. Hana turned to Minorukawa with a bright little grin. Hello, my name's Hana. I'm 6. You want some of this? Minorukawa held out a packet of dried squid he'd brought to go with the beers. Sure. Hana greedily stuffed her cheeks with the squid. Toyama flashed a sheepish grin. Do you like living with your daddy, Hana? Minorukawa asked, giving the girl's hair a gentle ruffle. Uh-huh, I do. My daddy's amazing. He runs a company. Toyama let out a tiny, involuntary sob at his daughter's ready praise. I'll keep at it, Toyama said, looking into his daughter's smiling face. Hana is more important to me than any high aspirations I might have had. I'll keep shoveling out copies of the gossip, and at least make sure she's always got something good to eat. Daddy, this is really tasty. Hana held up the pouch of dried squid. Tears welled in Toyama's eyes. Next time I'll make sure she has sashimi instead of something like this. Hey, what do you mean something like this? Minorukawa grumbled. I'm the one who bought it. Toyama and his daughter laughed together. It was a heartwarming sight, Minorukawa thought. A father and his girl get along so well. Toyama might have been a hard-hitting journalist, but when he came home at the end of the day, he was just daddy. It was only natural for the man, as a father, to put his child above anything else. After gorging herself on snacks, Hana fell asleep on the sofa, looking well and truly satisfied. You know, Minorukawa, Hana's happiness means more to me than my lofty artistic ideals ever could. Toyama kept his voice low as he regarded his daughter's sleeping face. And from that day forward, Heaven Publishing had shifted its focus to scandal rags, with 4-star general gossip as its pillar. Had that been for good or for ill? Whatever the case, Toyama had abandoned his pride. Minorukawa had watched him become more and more of a miserable wretch. Minorukawa snapped back into the present as a sheaf of pages appeared in front of his face. Here you go, Chiaki said, radiating anxiety. Right. Minorukawa gave her copy a close read-over, then thrust it back out to her. What'd you even fix, he asked. Could you please tell me what parts are wrong, she mumbled, hanging her head. Oh, god damn it. What are you talking about? It's just, well, we don't have a lot of time here, so I figure if I just fix the parts that need fixing. Chiaki trailed off into an indistinct mutter. Is that always how you go about fixing your copy? Yes. Then you're never going to get any better. If someone tells you it's no good, you rewrite the whole thing from scratch. Just making fiddly tweaks here and there is what an amateur does. Chiaki dipped her head even deeper, cringing at the reprimand. Minorukawa let out a tiny sigh. Look, what I just told you, that's what Toyama told me when I was first starting out. There were times he'd have me do dozens of rewrites. At first I thought he was just pushing me around, but after rewriting things over and over, I realized something. There are a whole lot of ways you can write about the same thing. And that's what helped me hone my skills as a writer. Chiaki raised her head back up. Oh wow, really? If you can get that, then stick with it. Write your submission deadline as close as you have to in order to write the best piece you can. Okay, I can do it. I will do it. Finally, Chiaki's face brightened with a smile. That's the spirit. The woman might have talent, but she hadn't realized it yet. She needed to be able to stick to an assignment even when things got tough. If she didn't have that kind of resolve, she'd never make it as a freelancer. Yeah, I was gonna say, the goons are just chilling. Oh, how touching, Ozu chimed in, applauding. I'm almost moved to tears. They'll make a movie of this for sure. Or a video game in 2008. See, we had only been acquainted with that sad sap Toyama. We never knew there was such an upstanding fellow here who was so good at tough love. Minorukawa shot to his feet and pounded his fist on the desk. That's about enough from the peanut gallery. Hold your tongue, Sagawa snarled. His eyes shone with a vicious gleam. We're getting sick of waiting here. Sagawa, you really are a short-tempered guy, aren't you? Ozu clucked disapprovingly at his underling, then slid a sheet of paper onto Minorukawa's desk. Nevertheless, I'm afraid we do require a decision now. If you'll just stamp here, we'll be on our way. Chiaki stared down at the document. Is this a bond of recognizance? Yeah, that's right. That's what you write when transferring a debt. Sagawa puffed himself up proudly. Minorukawa silently looked over the contract. If you don't have a stamp, we'll gladly accept a signature as well, Ozu pointed out. Face it, pal, Sagawa added. If you don't hurry up and sign, we're never going to stop going after Toyama's daughter. Minorukawa snatched up a pen. Mr. Mino, you can't do this. Think about what you're doing, Chiaki shouted. If you go through with this, you'll just wind up like Mr. Toyama. I won't. Yes, you will. Just who the hell do you think I am? I'm Minoru Minorikawa, dammit. I'm going to land so many scoops it'll make your head spin. And I'm going to pay back this debt and rebuild Heaven Publishing. But why would you take such a risk? Chiaki sobbed. Minorikawa lowered his voice. Because I owe him so much. I can't stand by and let these scumbags kill his daughter. Minorikawa readied his pen and signed the document. Alright, Sagawa cheered. Now we're talking! A satisfied grin came to Ozu's face as he reached for the contract. But before he could pick it up, Chiaki snatched it from the desk. Whoa! Yannick Ishita? I'm not letting you do this! Crumpling the paper, she stuffed it right into her mouth. Hey, Sagawa snapped. What the hell are you doing? He tried to force Chiaki's mouth open. Don't you dare, you bitch! But despite his frantic efforts, Chiaki managed to gulp the wad of paper down. Sagawa blinked a few times. Oh, you did not just do that. Ozu looked on, dumbstruck. Guess we gotta get a new contract from the office, boss. Bring as many as you want, Chiaki declared. I'll just keep eating them. Girl, you some kind of damn goat or something? The mental image of a goat eating paper is a common one, dating back to long ago when paper was made solely out of plant material. If a goat were to eat modern paper, the wad of chemically treated pulp would go undigested and possibly cause an intestinal blockage, so please do not feed paper to goats. Okay. Sagawa shoved Chiaki up against the desk. Ow! Cut it out! That hurts! As she struggled to resist, Chiaki lurched toward the desk, planting one of her hands atop the TV remote control. One of her fingers happened to land on the volume up button. Video? The sound from the television set soon hit max volume. We have just learned that the explosion earlier claimed the life of one man. While police have stated that there is a likelihood of foul play at work, they are also pursuing leads that this was a potential suicide. Wait a minute! If we went to the press with Kano, maybe they would have confirmed that this was Tanaka, and therefore not Toyama, and the situation could resolve. I think I'm going to go back to Kano after this. They hadn't released the name, but they must have been talking about Toyama. Feeling the impact of his mentor's death all over again, Minorikawa slumped back in his chair, his body languid and lifeless. Still, there was one thing he could do for the friend he'd lost. Draw up a new contract. I'll sign it. Mr. Mino! Don't argue with me. I've made up my mind. Chiaki fell silent. No reneging on our deal now, Ozu said with a nasty sneer. I do hope you don't get any funny ideas about running out on us. But Minorikawa didn't need the warning. He had no such plans. Sagawa slapped the new contract onto the desk. Here, sign it. Minorikawa signed for a second time. Sagawa stepped in to make doubly certain that Chiaki couldn't eat it. I do hope you're able to earn enough to pay us back in short order, Mr. Minorikawa. With a satisfied grin, Ozu smacked him on the shoulder. Man, that's scary. What? What? Minorikawa stood on deck as his ship set out across the rolling waves. In order to pay back the loan as soon as he could, he had to quit his financially unreliable career as a freelancer. For over a year now, he'd been sailing the seas, tossed by wind and waves as he went in pursuit of his new goal. But as Minorikawa gazed out over the vast wild ocean, his eyes shone with the self-same gleam that had lit them in his days as a reporter chasing after the truth. With pen exchanged for fishing rod, I was kind of hoping for pirate, but he sought a brand new destiny. Forge onward, Minorikawa. For the diamonds of the sea. The rare bluefin tuna. Okay. That ending just kind of happened. Bad end. Man, that's ridiculous. A man of the sea. Minorikawa took on Toyama's old debt and was forced to set out for a new life at sea. But was that really Toyama who was killed in the explosion? Minorikawa's future might turn out differently if he hears who actually was inside that minivan. Called it! What time is it? It's Kano time. No. Yes. Once again, we successfully made it through Kano's story, but there were still things we should have done. Releasing the name should be alright. There was still a lot that didn't know about Tanaka. The fact that the final stop for the ransom relay was Tanaka's condo implied some sort of connection between him and the kidnappers. but they still had no idea what his role in the abduction might have been. They also didn't have any motive for why Tanaka would be helping the kidnappers in the first place. By sharing some of what they did know with the public, they might be able to garner some new leads. You released the name? Alright then. Without another word, Kuze headed back toward the conference room. Did it! I'm curious. Yeah, there's nothing new on this particular TV thing. Minorikawa time! Did it! Flashback. I love that choosing whether or not to take on the debt doesn't seem to matter. Just like saying, or maybe we're supposed to get headbutt, because if we sign the debt, then we just go straight to the bad end. Maybe that's what it is. So ironically, getting headbutt was the proper thing to do. I thought that was like gonna delay for time or something. Alright. Okay, and now we get to the volume up button. For real, Fakafan. Just like that, Kano is the scapegoat if anything goes wrong. Volume up. This ought to be good. We have just learned the identity of the victim killed in the explosion. Shibuya resident and a pharmaceutical executive. Shibuya resident? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Toyama didn't live in Shibuya. Once again, the victim of the explosion was Shibuya resident and pharmaceutical company executive Mamoru Tanaka. The cause of the explosion remains unknown. The police are still in the process of following up several potential leads. The site of the incident remains an alarming scene, with relief workers continuing to tend to the wounded. The four people in the editing office spoke in near unison. Huh? Who's Tanaka? That's fantastic. The thugs just leave. The hunt is back on, boys! Wow, Minorikawa is the one guy who doesn't have a critical downer ending. We'll see what happens with Maria, but you know she ends in a freaking cliffhanger. So... Wow, Kano goes way farther than Minorikawa. He's stuck here, and Kano goes like... How is this to be continued? Like a half hour back? What the hell? Alright, so Maria... At 16:10. Is there a jump at that point? Is there just not one? I'm getting a little nervous now. Eh? No, it's Osawa. How do I get to Maria? Dragon Ace, no, Hana is not in danger. She is indirectly, I guess, because her father's in danger. How do I deal with this keep out? We're at 10. There's only one jump for Maria, but who was it? Oh, well, you're right. There is a jump that was way later. Maybe I could do that. No, that's the hour behind. That's not A. It's not Minorikawa. This was Osawa? No, this is the Maria jump. I guess I gotta do it. I'll see if this works. I hope it does. Oh, thank God. Alright, we're good. We did it. We got it. Boom. We're in. Hello there, Dahypnis. I hear a faint voice and realize that the man is listening to a wireless radio. I've managed to secure Hitomi Osawa at Shibuya Central Hospital, the voice says. A gleam comes to the gunman's eyes. He pulls the cell phone from his jacket and hurriedly makes a call. I've secured Maria Osawa, he says to whoever's on the other end. Huh? Maria Osawa? Is my name Maria Osawa? Oh my God, we finally figured it out. You need to bring Hitomi Osawa to my location at once. Hitomi? Hitomi Osawa? If I'm Maria Osawa, what sort of relationship do I have to Hitomi? Hello there, Ebony. If you don't bring her, I'll kill Maria. Then my captor hangs up. Were you serious just now? My voice wavers uncontrollably. What do you mean you'll kill me? Don't look at me like that. He steps in closer to me, his expression dangerous. That killer's edge that he lost during our little talk is back in full force. Just bear with me a little longer. He really is planning suicide by cop, isn't he? Just bear with me, so he might not actually want to kill Maria, but he knows he's, like, god-awful. He blindfolds my eyes with some sort of towel. I can't see through it at all. Just then, I hear Kanan's voice inside my head. My memories are like shards of broken glass, tumbling through my mind, all out of sequence. The cat's cradle thing again. How are you able to do that when the string is so tangled up? Oh, once you know the trick to it, you can do it with your eyes closed. I'm showing Kanan how to do a cat's cradle. She reaches out for the string. Huh? She doesn't get hold of it quite right. What gives? Despite her efforts, the string gets all jumbled up. No, not like that, I say. Hook your index fingers through the front part of the string. No, I get that. Kanan's getting irritated. But after giving it a few more tries, she finally manages to pull it off. There we go, she says. Look at that. Seeing her innocent little smile bolsters my own spirits. That's neat. Thanks for teaching me. Oh, it's nothing special. Here, as a thanks, let me teach you some skills to help protect yourself. Oh yeah? Abruptly, my memory jumps forward a bit. Kanan has been training me in some form of self-defense. Techniques for protecting oneself when attacked. Rather than defeating the opponent, self-defense training generally prioritizes simply getting oneself away from danger. Some people consider behavioral tenets such as run away when you're attacked, or don't go near dangerous places to be forms of self-defense as well. Don't overthink it, she says. People will either try to punch you, kick you, or grab you. If you could stay ready for those three things, you'll be able to take it from there. She demonstrates some defensive movements as I watch. I follow suit, doing my best to mimic her. Okay, let's do this. Kanan throws a punch at me. I dodge, grab her by the wrist, and give her arm a hard twist. Incredibly, she goes whirling through the air. She lands nimbly on her feet, a little grin coming to her face. Nicely done, she says. I stare down at my own hand. Did I really just do that? Once you repeat the movements enough, your body will treat them like second nature. I do as she says, trying to repeat the movements over and over. At first it feels like a silly gimmick, but eventually I can feel the motions growing smoother. There you go. People like those thugs we met before won't get the drop on you again. Huh. Thugs. Now my memory is zipped further back into the past. Yeah, because Maria really doesn't have much to do in the present day, right? I was wandering the streets, trying to get back to my hotel, but I'd gotten lost. By the time I realized I'd wandered to some dodgy back streets, I was already surrounded by people giving me threatening looks. They must have been thugs looking for tourists to rob. If they had caught me, I'm not sure I would have made it out alive. But they hadn't. Kanan had seen to that. Thank you so much for what you did for me. I didn't want there to be a scene here, Kanan says bluntly as she surveys the aftermath of the thug's attack. That's all. I'd happened to be underneath her apartment window when I was nearly abducted. Bit by bit, my memories of Kanan are starting to resurface. Just a little more. Just a little more and I'll have myself back, I'm sure of it. Detective Tatena, where are you? Ah, Kano's here! Oh, damn! A man's voice suddenly snaps me back into the moment. It's Kano! I've come as you asked! The gunman grabs me by the arm and yanks me to my feet. Where's Hitomi Osawa? He snarls. Why didn't you bring her? Detective Tatena, why are you doing this? Is that really Maria? My captor removes my blindfold. Kano was a blimp the whole time? Oh no, lower right, never mind. The first thing I see is a huge blimp drifting slowly by overhead. Huh. I'm sure I've seen it before. And pretty recently at that. There's a flash of revelation inside my head, like a dam bursting. My memories come flooding back to me. Oh? The party. The taser. The blue van. The amulet. The blimp. Damn. Last night, I was at a party, a sort of mixer with the exchange students. Someone was plotting to use this party as an opportunity to abduct my sister, Hitomi, and so I told Hitomi that the party started an hour later than it really did. I had a plan, to let myself get abducted in Hitomi's place. Of course, the idea wasn't just to let myself get kidnapped. The necklace I wore was outfitted with a tiny GPS. Aha! Wherever I happened to be taken, Kaine would be able to track my location. What we hadn't counted on, though, was my necklace getting torn off when I was attacked. I managed to grab hold of it, but I hit my head when I was being shoved into the car, and it slipped from my grasp. I'm not sure how far we drove after that. In my fuzzy memories, I recall gazing blearily out the car window. Ayakamiki. That was when I saw the blimp, right after we parked. Yes, it went fine. There was a man talking to someone on a cell phone. Alright, I'll shut her up inside the storeroom. I'll be waiting in the room upstairs. The man dragged me out of the car and shoved me into some dark storeroom. Then, I guess for good measure, he hit me on the head again. That's right. There's more of it coming back to me now. You've spent your life living in a country at peace, in Japan. You couldn't possibly understand me. Kaine again, so it's not like she and I became fast friends right away or anything. The two of us were too different in a lot of ways. Where do you draw the line? What would you protect with your life? What does justice mean to you? The person with the ringtone in the game? I don't remember Meowington, actually. A forlorn look came to her face whenever Kaine asked me a new question. And I never had a good answer for any of them. My flimsy grasp on my own personal identity made it hard for us to get along, yet I kept visiting Kaine's place for the duration of my trip. I recall doing the cat's cradle there at the table one time when we didn't have anything in particular to talk about. Her eyes had gone wide when she saw me deftly manipulating the string with my fingers. Who taught you how to do that? She asked. My mother. My real mother, that is. Kaine furrowed her brow. What do you mean, real? As opposed to my stepmother, I mean. My birth mother died after getting really sick. I was only 5 years old, so I don't remember her that well. I see, Kaine said. Her expression remained unchanged. What about your parents, Kaine? Well, I don't have any. They died during the war. The bluntness of her response made my hands stop, the string still stretched between them. Sensing that we were treading on some serious ground, I hurried to change the subject. Oh, Meowington, the ringtone that's part of a song? That would be Kano's ringtone, so this was probably someone else. Oh, clever, Fakafania, cat's cradle, it needs a Tama, the cat suit. Do you have any friends? No. Well, I used to have one. Her use of the past tense made me fear the worst, and I was right. He was killed, too, by an arms dealer named Alphard. Her tone was dry, matter-of-fact. Taking revenge for his death is my sole purpose in life. Despite the gravity of her words, her face was an unreadable mask. She seemed almost incapable of human emotion. So, what sort of person is this Alphard? A destructionist who masquerades as a terrorist. Destructionist? That sure wasn't a term that came up a lot back in Japan. Alphard doesn't believe in God and holds no political ideology. The chaos and destruction is just to earn money in order to carry out more terrorist acts. So you're saying this Alphard commits terrorism because it's fun? Kaine nodded. That's why every now and then Alphard changes loyalties. Just when you think you found ties to some Middle Eastern terrorist organization, it turns out the job was for the American CIA. Yo. What the heck? So Alphard stands for nothing then? Kaine smiled dismissively at my little childish outburst. I couldn't help but feel a bit patronized. I twiddled my fingers, turning my cat's cradle into a bridge. Kaine's eyes fixed right back on the string. A tiny surge of pride replaced my annoyance. She went quiet, watching closely as I worked my fingers. The tension in the room faded as the silence between us lengthened. My stepmother's the sort of person who couldn't do this sort of thing, I said at last. For some reason, I had a sudden urge to talk about my personal life. I guess she cares about herself more than looking after her children. She's not a bad person, though. She gives me weird bits of advice, like telling me to find someone to date, or that a woman's life is defined by a man. What? But it's not like I hate her or anything. Would you mind teaching me? Kanan asked softly. What? How to find a guided date? No. She shook her head. Then she pointed to the cat's cradle strung between my fingers. Oh, you mean this. So I took her by the hand and started to teach her the cat's cradle. Hey, do you mind if I ask you something? I said after a while. What's that? That friend you mentioned earlier. What was he like? Kanan's fingers went still. It's better if you don't ask. If I tell you, you won't want to come here anymore. What? That's not true, I insisted. Even though I'm a terrorist, she replied curtly. One who uses fear and violence to attain political objectives. The term has its origins in the Reign of Terror in 18th century France, known as in French as La Terreur. I probably butchered that. I swallowed a sudden lump in my throat, unable to find words. We fight for righteousness, but you people call us terrorists. In the religious sense, the state of being virtuous, free of sin and observant of the proper rules of moral conduct. Not the same as being in the right, though many people equate the two. Am I wrong? She cast a quick look at my face. But, I mean, you protected me. My voice wavered as I replied. All I did was take down some thugs. I just didn't want them around. What could I say to that? I just stammered. Nah, I'm just messing with you. Huh? Kanan flashed me another slight, condescending grin. I was just joking, don't worry about it. But I didn't get the sense that everything she said was a joke. Even if calling herself a terrorist was an exaggeration, the world Kanan lived in was unquestionably a dangerous one. Oh, did I actually get it right, Fakafan? The French pronunciation? Thank you. I could tell that from the cold look in her eyes, a look you'd never expect from an ordinary teenage girl. Just what sort of hardships had she endured to acquire that deadly stare? Having lived all my life in peaceful Japan, I could scarcely imagine. Kanan tried and failed several times to get the cat's cradle right, but she didn't give up. She worked fastidiously by herself, fingers continuing to shift awkwardly about. Okay, here we go. She hooked the string around her fingers and spread her palms. But the string shape just collapsed into a jumbled mess. What? Rubbish. Confound it. Okay, one more time. Dag nabbit. You can make this into a game with two people, you know. I plucked the string from Kanan's hands. You pass the string back and forth. Why don't we try that? It's more fun than doing it by yourself. I wrapped the string around my fingertips. What do you say? Want to give it a go? Kanan looked dubious. The intricately intertwined strings were like the world, in a way. What had started as a single thread was now something that couldn't be undone just by pulling at it. I held my hands out, twirling the string around my fingers. Kanan took the pattern from me and spread her palms apart. She made a perfect bridge between her hands. The shy grin that came to her face made her finally look like a normal girl. I followed suit with a childish little laugh of my own. And, as if in a blaze of sunshine, the fog that's been hanging over my mind finishes receding. I remember everything. My name is Maria Osawa. My sister is Hitomi Osawa. And Kanan, she's a dear friend who I met in a far-off land. She helped me once, and now it's my turn to help her. I close my eyes as I reflect upon these precious memories, all the dearer for having been lost. Now, when I try to picture Kanan, I can do so clearly. It's just as I thought before. My memories are what make me who I am, and I would never choose to forget them. I feel almost as if time had stopped for me while my history was gone, and now it started moving again. Shoshite toki ga ukoku desu. I'm finally back to being me. Oh my god, video! We're doing it! And I have to go. I have to go back there one more time. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Huh? What? Wait, what? There's another hour, though. Hello there, Simon. End of her story, and what? It's just 4? Are you scared about meeting with your father? Someone's broken through our firewall. I'm sorry, Mr. Mino. What the? You'll lose everything. Oh, man. Maria's gonna be like an NPC now and save the day. Running out of time, you're goddamn right. Whoa. Huh? I can't even press left. It doesn't even allow me to rotate. Like, I have to go the long way. That is insane. Okay, now by the way, chat, let me establish this. Apparently there's actually like some sort of post-game content, and I don't know what it is. But there's also the bad endings to go through, but this is the last standard chapter, I assume. We made it to the last, I guess, regular chapter of the game. We're doing it! This is freaking marvelous! But for now, I think I'm going to call it. So thank you very much for joining the stream, and have a wonderful night.